Well, the face-to-face format can be kind of loosey-goosey depending on how your day is going. Online learning can be very structured, and it has to be actually for them to follow along. You have to have the same number of days in a module. The module should work the same every single week with the same kind of expectations.
I try to keep the technical part as simple as possible. I have a lot of students that come back who have been out of school for a long time, and I also have new grads that have come right from their associate's degree who are very computer literate. So I have a real range on that. But I don't want the technology to interfere with the learning. So I keep the technology part as simple as I can. I try to keep it so that each week they're doing something that they know how to do. Like, this is how you're going to have a little quiz each week, you're going to have a discussion each week, you're going to watch a video each week. So they get into the rhythm of how it works. But then I have variety in there too. I have them doing an app that's actually a field investigation, that's a CDC outbreak investigation piece that they do. And by the 5th week, they have the handle and they can do that.
If I have something that is really technical, I can videotape it and I can upload that. So people can visually look at it, they can reference the PowerPoints, they can listen to the audio, and they can look at the textbook.
When I have a guest speaker and they're there for 2 hours, and the students don't want to listen to a video for 2 hours. It's just too much for them to sit in one kind of. So I tell them to just watch it in segments, and then somebody actually suggested that I break up the video and do it in different segments, but I thought that they would lose the continuity. So sometimes I put the actual guest speaker in, and sometimes I go into YouTube and find something that's just as exciting so that it does mimic the guest speaker, but it's not quite as long.
The one piece that I work towards and work with is curriculum design. And so in the end, am I getting the outcome that I need to get, whether that's in the school building or is that online? Is I had to meet competencies, and I had to make sure I'm putting out safe, competent providers. So all of us in health technology have to do that. So is my outcome good? Is it better? And so I have to look at that measure. I have to constantly look at that measure.
When I give homework assignments, you can tell the students that don't understand quite the subject matter. So then you can give them a little bit more reinforcement or learning opportunities.
The challenge of it though is that you are not that you're not planning curriculum in the classroom every week, but you're doing it then so far ahead. You have to be diligent about making sure if I have to have a course ready on day one and the whole course laid out for a student. In something maybe in a history course, history isn't going to change rapidly, but for us, we have to make sure we're diligent about being very current in our curriculum. So that is just sort of a workload challenge, is making sure if there's new evidence-based guidelines, I have to have them out to them. I can't, and that I might already have that part of the module written, so I have to update it. So that's something that I continue to look to, because students, sort of interesting, some of them will print up the course almost like a book. So I tell them, listen, there's going to be things that will always be added, and so we've sort of had to build an extra module for new material.
Sometimes I have to say that the online class gets more information, because if I'm in a face-to-face class and all of a sudden the student starts talking about something and the class starts getting involved, then we lose track of what the actual class was going to do, the set schedule, and we might not get to something, but it was important that we follow through on what was being said. So, the online class is actually getting all the content, and the face-to-face class might not get all the content.
Some days in a face-to-face class, you feel like you had a really good day, both in terms of, when I lecture, I don't speak from notes or anything, so sometimes on some days I'm a little bit more articulate, more clear than in others. In other days also, the students are more alert or more responsive, so we have a better discussion. So I think that if you take the time to craft your online, in a lecture course, your online lectures, you can give your best version of your lecture, of every lecture, each and every time.